Mark, welcome to the program.
Good to be here.
How did you get into theater?
I actually started out taking my grandchildren to see Christian youth theater.
Oh, yes.
And I decided I wanted to volunteer. I started out actually ironing nun suits for Sound of Music and then doing popcorn. And they discovered I had an engineering degree, so I moved up to lighting.
Uh-oh.
And I did lighting for them for several years. And then
Wow.
I decided I need to learn more about lighting.
Right.
So I started coming to the community theaters here in Conroe.
Mm-hmm.
And I agreed to meet with some folks to learn more about. And when I got there, I found out it was an audition.
That's not what you had in mind.
and yeah, they said, "What are you going to sing?" I said, "Nothing. I'm here to talk about lights." And they said, "Sing this," and I did. And they said, "Read this," and I did. Next thing I knew, I was the Prime Minister of Siam. It was an accident. And one of the best things that ever happened to me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I still do lighting for CYT, but if I can be on stage as well, I'll do that.
Really? So which CYT? Was that the one in
Spring?
Woodlands?
No, in Spring.
The one in Spring. Okay, the
Yeah.
one in Spring. Because we got several, right?
Yeah, they're all working for a company out of San Diego.
Yes.
But
Right.
I did most of my stuff at the Bach in the Woodlands. Yes.
Okay.
Been doing that for several years.
Yeah, so we know them, but I guess we work more closely with the one CYT Conroe, of course.
And coming up, I'm doing lighting for the first time here at the Crighton for Hobbit for CYT.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that.
So you're gonna be here for a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hard to run me off at this point.
So that's how you got sucked into it. What roles would you like to do that you haven't done yet?
This is really the first time I've had a really funny role.
Right.
I love comedy.
Oh, absolutely.
I decided to take voice lessons, although I think that's kind of a long-term project for me. But comedy is something I've always done in my professional life. For 30 years, I was a trainer, and I did a lot of training in costume as one-act plays.
Really?
And one of the things I do as another hobby is I teach astronomy to kids.
Right.
I've got a very large telescope, and I dress up as Galileo and do like a little one-act play for astronomy. But I'd never been on theater before.
But actually, you've been playing parts for a long time.
Just because I wanted to.
Right.
Just because I wanted to. So I've done a lot of that. But the comedy is fun. The comedy is fun.
Well, let's talk about what you do in real life. So you're an engineer. So.
I'm a chemical engineer. I'm a Texas Aggie, and in December, in December I retired from General Electric after 35 years. I retired on opening night of White Christmas, actually.
Wow!
And that was a big event for me. So going from chemical engineering to the theater through lighting, which I guess was the technical connection. Right. But like I say, I've always been prone to doing this sort of thing.
Right.
And it's kind of funny because my professional colleagues all think that I'm kind of a wild and crazy theatrical kind of person, and my theater colleagues look at me as an engineer and a former Army officer. So it's kind of a mixture.
It's kind of interesting, the stereotypes.
Yeah, it is.
Finding your engineer is, this guy's got to be.
Yeah, he's got to be one or the other. No, you can be.
Right,
you can be whatever you want to be. But I've had a lot of fun with it, Steve. A lot of fun with it.
What do you like to do in your time off?
Well, I'm still active in the Corps of Cadets at Texas A&M. I'm active in my church. I do lighting for them as well. And obviously this is a big part of it. Doing lights and acting on stage has become a very big time consumer for me. And I enjoy that a lot. And doing things with my family. One of the greatest things about being in theater is I've now convinced 3 grandkids and a daughter-in-law to participate with me.
Right.
And they've been in plays with me.
Isn't that fun?
That's great. Because if I can get the whole family up here, then nobody's wondering about where I am and what I'm doing.
Exactly. It's some of the best, we don't get a lot of times to do things as family anymore. Where everybody's scattered doing their different activities, right?
Yeah, but I've managed to pull as many as I could into it. My grandson is 20. He's about 6'3", 300 pounds, and got his start as Buddha in The King and I. And then he started doing singing and dancing, and you try buying size 17 tap shoes.
Oh, geez.
It's not easy. They don't make a lot of those. But it has been a real hoot for us.
That's wild. Do you like to travel?
Well, I worked in 31 countries and 50
so you've been around,
states.
been there, done that. Yeah.
my wife and I took our first cruise in January. We'd never done that
Really?
before. And I'll do it again.
What cruise did you take?
We went out of Galveston, our little
Okay.
7-day Caribbean thing, and we had a wonderful time. And I know they've had some problems, but we didn't, and I would do that again. But, yeah, I worked all over the world, and yeah, I would go back to many of the countries, but there's a lot to do here, too.
Absolutely. Well, that, it's probably one of the problems we have now, especially in the U.S. educational systems, is trying to get people to do some of the harder disciplines, like engineering. So how would you encourage kids to get into engineering or medicine or whatever, science?
Yeah, it is tough. And the schools have gotten to a point where it's so very competitive getting into them. When I went to A&M, it wasn't so hard to get in, but it was difficult to stay.
Right.
Now it seems to be difficult to get in.
Yes.
But yeah, you've got to hit the basics. But one thing I always encourage people is that engineering degree will get you a job, but the career takes communication skills.
Yes.
And stuff like theater and speech and drama, as well as obviously the written word. That's the path to a career, not the engineering degree.
Yeah.
So a balance is required.
Right. It's kind of interesting. That we have so many toys, technology type toys, that the kids know and learn. But like you say, it takes them away from other skills, potentially, that they really need to spend a bit of time on, like communication.
Well, with
a real person.
Sure. Oh, that's right. Well, and when I was an engineering student, you didn't spend a lot of time playing with a slide rule. It just wasn't all that much fun.
No.
So, yeah, you did communicate a lot.
Right.
But those skills have got to be a part of the education. So, you've got to do it all. It's tough. It's competitive out there.
Absolutely. So what else do you see out there that you enjoy doing? Say, you do golf or?
Well, no. I mean, I work out in the gym a lot, and I stay active doing that. I ride a Harley.
Okay. Yeah.
I haven't been as much as I'd like to lately, but I've done a lot of Harley riding.
Right.
I've got a couple of Harleys at home, so that's a lot of fun. But the more I'm getting into theater, I'm finding the more and more that's
sucking your time.
It does. Right now, I'm balancing between lights and theater in 2 shows.
Oh my goodness!
So it's and this is more fun.
Well, let's talk about Harley, because there was a time when Harley Davidson, I didn't know if they were going to survive, and then they kind of turned around.
Yeah,
what was that?
They were actually originally they were sold out to AMC.
Okay.
I think it was the AMF, the company that made the bowling alley stuff. Right. And they mismanaged it badly. And then the employees ended up buying it outright, and it came back. Right. And one of my passions is marketing. I've done a lot of marketing over the years. And to achieve cult status like the Harley Davidson company has is like the ultimate goal.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what you do, whatever bike you show up with. If it's not a Harley, it's not a Harley. Right. They've achieved that status. That's always been impressive to me. But yeah, they pulled it out of the fire.
Oh, just amazing. Well, there is that lesson that probably a lot of theaters need to learn, and that's the whole thing about marketing. What else can we do? Yes. I mean, it's theater.
It's a process, and many people confuse marketing with sales and promotion. That's not it. It's a whole process that directs the decision-making of the organization. Wow. And I really enjoy working with that.
Really? We need to talk, definitely. I think that's probably the failing of a lot of businesses, but especially nonprofits like theaters. Most people, they're just interested in doing the show.
And the same process works for any organization. I mean, the same process is used by the U.S. Army and the Salvation Army. Because it works. So it's something I preach a lot, is doing that, at least knowing what you're trying to accomplish and make it measurable and how you're going to get there.
Right. You say you're still active with the Corps Cadets.
I am.
Why?
Well, I went back to the Corps. I had lived in Pennsylvania for a number of years, and when I returned, I went back to the campus and looked up my old company, and it was really struggling. So I decided to get involved in it and try to help put it back together again. And it's thriving now. It's doing real well. That was about 5 years ago. But we just kind of officially became the mentor, and all the cadets spend some weekends every year at our house.
Good.
And I march to the Brazos with them, and we do Parents Weekend with them. I go to muster with them, and we do a lot of the Aggie traditions with them. And it's been very rewarding to go back to the old company. I was one of the founding members of Company K1, and it's been important to me. So we as a matter of fact, 3 weeks ago, I did something I'd never done before with some of the former members of that company and my son and daughter-in-law. We went skydiving. I went through airborne school in the Army, but that's not the same thing.
No.
And that was a long, long time ago. So we all went skydiving, jumped out of some airplane down in south of Houston, and then Rocheron or Alvin or somewhere down there.
Wow.
It was a lot of fun. It was fun.
I said A&M was one of those places where you just wanted to get out of, but that now we go there on vacation.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty sad. We go like, I just want out. And then finally, let's go to College Station.
I'm amazed at how many of my colleagues from back in the 60s and 70s have retired back there.
Yes, my boss
It's become a retirement destination.
Yeah.
Because it's
growing.
Oh, it's huge.
It's incredible, the growth there.
Yeah, when I was there were, I would say, 9,000 students.
Yeah.
12 women.
Sure. Yeah.
I never actually met one, but I saw one once.
Right. From a distance.
From a distance. We talked about it. I remember sitting around talking about the fact that we had seen an Aggie girl student that day.
Goodness.
But, I go back a lot, and I'm very comfortable there.
Well, thank you for, helping. Like I said, I think youth definitely are our future, but you need people that are willing to dedicate their time. One-on-one, not just kind of generally, but going back. And so thank you for that service. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Ask the question we've been asking everyone. If heaven exists, what do you want God to say when you get to the pearly gates?
I am a very strong believer that it does. As I mentioned earlier, I do astronomy. To me, one of the aspects of heaven that isn't described very well is I think there's a limit to what part of infinity we can understand.
Yep.
And part of heaven to me is suddenly you understand all of that, all of that we can't understand now. Right. Today, that gap is called faith. Right. I think at the pearly gates, it becomes reality. And what do they... I think I would like to be characterized as someone who did the best he could. And I think that's all any of us can do.
That's all we will ever want.
Yeah, but I can talk about that all day long.
And we're just curious, does God have a Texas accent?
I think he has whatever we want him to have.
Whatever we want him to have. Mark, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.